So let me flip her into sports, plus actually, and give her some gas. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another POV review. Today we're going to be checking out this 2019 W205 Mercedes C-Class C180 in a nice looking AMG line. Now, AMG line makes the car look a bit more sporty. As you can see, it's fitted with pretty nice looking wheels. I'm not sure about the size of them. 18 inches these are, 245s all around, which is pretty nice. It's equipped in this nice dark metallic blue color, which I think looks really good. Let's have a look in the rear. Now, as you can see, quite a bit of rear trunk space, which should be plenty for most people. Jump in the back, show you what the leg space is like. Love the tinted glass in the rear. Now, stepping into the rear of the C-Class, you're greeted with a very nice looking interior. You have nice Alcantara, part leather, part Alcantara seats, which look really good. Also in the rear, I still have alright leg space and also headroom, which is pretty good. Now, this is all nice soft touch, pretty good materials they're using. And I also quite like this aluminium trim on the doors. So yeah, in the rear, pretty good. Nothing much to complain. So let's walk up to the front. Also equipped with LED headlights, which look yeah, pretty good at night, I think. And let's jump in the driver's seat and start her up. Now, this is the 1.6 producing 156 brake horsepower. So foot on the brake, press the start button. This being quite a late model, that means that you have the digital screen in the center, which looks really sharp, and also a very big infotainment screen in the middle. Now you get this nice wood looking trim, or wood looking, I think it's actual wood, which looks really good. And you get the newer style steering wheel with these I guess touch capacitive buttons. And yeah, overall pretty good place to be in, I think, especially because it's the facelift. Looks a hell of a lot more modern. So let's strap in and take her for a drive. Right, in the driver's seat of this nice looking C-Class, we get a nice leather steering wheel perforated on the side and this digital cockpit in the middle. Now, you're able to flip through some of the modes if you want to. It's the wrong screen actually. You're able to flip through some of the modes on the main screen, so you can swipe through them. You can have, for instance, the navigation, also a G meter, I think, your consumption. And yeah, I like it when companies have a digital screen right in front of you. Now, pro side is, since this is quite a late model, you get a much bigger navigation screen in the center, which also looks really sharp. Mercedes is usually pretty good at doing infotainment. And you have this little swiper, I don't know, touchpad thing in the middle. You can also control it with this knob and also control it through the right part of the steering wheel. So you have plenty of options to your proposal to yeah, do whatever you want to. Now let's jump on this road here. Currently I have the car set to comfort, which is, I think, really where it's at with this. Especially the engine isn't too big, so like I said, 156 brake horsepower from a 1.6 liter turbo engine powering the rear wheels, which is I'm always a big fan of rear wheel drive cars. And you also get, I think, 250 newton meters of torque, which makes this car go from 0 to 60 in about 8.6 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. So not bad, not the best, but also not the worst. So I think it's a pretty yeah, I think it's good enough for a daily driver. I would possibly like to see a bit more power. So let me flip her into sports, plus actually, and give her some gas. So it's alright, has pretty long gears. However, I do notice that in sport, transmission doesn't shift as nicely anymore. It's much more made for comfort, as I've noticed. Let's quickly check how many gears this has. I think, wow, 8. Okay, so you have 8 gears to your proposal. Because this is an AMG line, you also get these nice pedals behind the steering wheel. And what I love about Mercedes, well, especially from the C-Class and upwards, is you get really good fit and finish on all the components. So these buttons, for instance, for your window toggles, they are, I think, made of aluminium or steel, which makes them feel really high end. So pretty much everything you touch does feel really good. So this is all soft touch in the doors, you get nice leather on the grab handle here, also on the dashboards, all soft touch, and this central stack kind of swoops up. It's a bit like a waterfall, and I think it looks really good and it feels just high end. However, like I said, comfort is probably where it's at with this car. In sport, it firms up the suspension a bit, also the steering wheel, throttle response, basically everything you would expect the sport modes would do. However, I do think that when you put it in sport, this car already doesn't have a lot of steering input, what I've noticed, and putting it in sport just emphasizes the fact that this car is quite disconnected to drive, I think, which is a bit of a shame, but maybe that's what, I'm not sure, what C-Class owners want, a bit more disconnected of driving, because you buy this car for your daily driver. If you want to go, like, if you're really into driving, I would expect people to maybe not go for a regular C180. They would probably go for a C63 or C43 maybe. The 43 being, I think, the 3-liter turbo, and the C63 of course being the 4-liter bi-turbo V8 from Mercedes, which is used in a hell of a lot of models that they currently have. However, this car did get renewed actually this year, so the new 2021 or 2022, I guess 2021 Mercedes C-Class, it's a lot more sharper. They are definitely going for more of that S-Class feel. So this car wasn't necessarily compared to the S-Class. The S-Class definitely was a way more different experience than this. But like I said, power-wise, it's alright. It's not the quickest, but it feels good enough. Transmission, 8-speed, probably a ZF gearbox, I'm not sure. It's at least not a dual clutch, which that is something you do notice. But yeah, you can't win them all, I guess. But overall, it's a pretty good driving experience. Loving the central display, nice black headlining, and overall it's pretty nice. You get a nice big sunroof in the rear, which it feels really high-end. These seats, however, it's one of my gripes that I do have quite often, is the seats in a Mercedes. I'm not sure about the higher end models or the models that are less focused on them being sporty but more on comfort, but the comfort seats, the sporty seats in a Mercedes, not my thing really. Now these ones have part Alcantara, part leather, which they look really sharp. However, I do think that they don't seat that nicely. You get this leather part on the bottom of the seat, which kind of feels weird when you're sitting on it, but yeah, you always gotta have something to complain, right? Okay, let's flip her into sport again. Sport, and go to the left lane, punch her. This is full throttle, by the way. It gets up to speed. It's alright, but nothing to write home about, I guess. Now let's jump off the highway here again. Suspension wise, mostly set up for comfort, and for some reason these brake discs are pretty warped, which isn't the greatest. You feel it when you're getting on the brakes a bit more, and also chucking it in a corner. Not much side bolstering on the seats, and a bit of the lack of the steering. They could have tightened up the steering a bit more, in my opinion, but again, always gotta have something to complain, right? Right, we're off again. So yeah, in general, pretty nice of a car. I really liked what they did with this generation, so the generation before, W204. I also have a review on that on my channel if you want to check it out. That was, however, a diesel. They did really spruce up the interior quite a bit. However, if you're going for like the earlier models, so I guess that's 2015, 2014, the infotainment screen is much smaller, very big bezels around it. You don't get this nice looking virtual cockpit in the center. So yeah, it is, you have to definitely go through some options. Also, still nowadays, very late car this is, 2019, and I think the stereo in my Golf is way better than it is in this Mercedes, and that's because you are able to select options at Mercedes. They cost a hell of a lot of money, and if you want to get something fancy, you got to pay for it, which means that the standard equipment on this, it isn't always the best. But hey, that's what you get for the really premium German brands. It's with Audi, it's with Mercedes, it's also with BMW. So that's just what you got to do with it. That way you also spec it up quite quickly. You bump the price up really fast. Now this thing cost new 45,000 euros, which is not too bad actually. I think my Golf is the same amount of money. So for 45,000 euros, you're getting a pretty good car, I think. So guys, this is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give a like, and if you have any feedback, any questions, be sure to comment them down below. If you want to see more of my reviews, please be sure to subscribe for plenty of more content to come in the future. So I want to thank you guys for watching again, and I'll see you in the next video.